Hey, it's Mike. I hope you're doing well. Today we're doing a Spring Initializr intro. So dead simple, what is Spring Initializr? What does it do for us, and how can we use it? So let's do this. Okay, so here I am at the Spring Initializr webpage. It's at start.spring.io, and what Spring Initializr does is it lets you toggle a few settings to generate a template project for you, so that you have a bare bones Spring project that you can then build on top of. You can then start adding your code to. It doesn't really give you much code at all out of the box. It just gives you all of the setup, like the build tool, the language, the version of the Spring Boot, the name of the project, and then over here is dependencies, which we'll talk about, okay? So I'm gonna click Maven, Java, and then I'll do the latest here, and then I can just name it example app for now. Yada yada. I got my package there. I want my packaging as a a jar file, not a war file. And I'm going to use Java 11 here. Okay, so that'll set up everything in my Maven POM file. Over here is an important part, the dependencies. So these are the Java dependencies, Java jars or libraries, if you like to call them, that you can bring into your project. I believe most of them are Spring. Some of them I don't think are, like Lombok is not, but a lot of them are Spring starters. So let's see if there's a section for starters. I don't think so, but let's say we want to do Spring Web. This brings in the library, the Spring starter for REST applications. Typically, if you're creating an API, you'd want to use this one. Okay, so I added the Spring Web as a dependency, and then I love using Lombok to help produce some boilerplate code. And then whatever else you want to add here. So you can look through there. Maybe I use Okta for my OAuth authentication and security here. So maybe I'll click OAuth and give me the library for that. Cool. So I have these three dependencies here, and then I hit generate, and then it gives me a zip file, which brings in all of the template files that I need, or sample project files that I need for my Spring Boot application. So let me load that into my IntelliJ and I'll show you that. Okay, so I've imported into my IDE. I'm using IntelliJ here. I've expanded all the folders so you can see what's in here. So we have a .mvn file or folder that provides the Maven wrapper. You can look at that online, see what that is, but basically it gives you Maven without having Maven installed. So it'll download it kind of at real time when you run the Maven command using the Maven wrapper. And then it gives you a main method essentially to start the Spring Boot application here. So that's the only real application code that it gives you. And then it gives you all the directory structure that you need, application properties for any properties that you need, and then it gives you one simple test to make sure that the application context loads. So this is an important test to make sure that everything is wired up correctly, right? So we can go ahead and run this guy. Okay, cool. So I got a pass test there. And then I can also just right click and run the application here as well. Okay, I'm not going to do that because it doesn't really have anything in it right now, but I'll just walk through some of these other files. So mainly what it populates, the Spring Initializr, is the pom.xml or your build file, whichever one you chose. Like if you chose Gradle, it would be different. But it populates all of the dependencies and things for you. So it hooks up to the Spring Boot parent here, right? Which brings in all of the right versions and plugins from the Spring framework. It gives you the name of your app. We're using Java 11. And then here's all of the dependencies that we selected. Remember, if you remember the web here, we're also using the Okta starter and then Lombok here. And then it gives you the right plugins to run a Spring Boot application. Okay, so that's about it for the Spring Initializr. So you can start hacking away in your source main Java, or if you're test-driven development, you can start writing tests first as well. Whatever you want to do, you can start writing code very quickly. Cool, I hope that helped you, and talk to you next time.